When you think of zombies, your mind probably goes to brain-hungry monsters shambling around in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, not to your immune system. But deep inside your body, lurking like extras from a biological horror movie, are senescent immune cells, aging T cells and B cells that have stopped dividing, refuse to die, and insist on wreaking slow, subtle havoc. These are the immune system's zombies, and as strange as it sounds, they may hold the key to new treatments for autoimmune diseases. Or at least, they might explain why our immune system sometimes acts like it's forgotten who the enemy is and starts attacking its own teammates. Cellular senescence is a sort of forced retirement for cells that have been stressed, damaged, or have simply hit the end of their replicative road. Instead of dying quietly, they stick around and pump out a cocktail of inflammatory molecules known as the SASP, senescence-associated secretory phenotype. This chemical screamfest is helpful in small doses, say, for tissue repair, but when it becomes chronic, it's like that one guest at a party who's still talking politics at 2 a.m. long after everyone else has gone home. And in the immune system, senescent cells don't just scream, they confuse, mislead, and misfire. Enter the immune system's aging cast, senescent T cells and B cells. These guys were once the elite soldiers of your internal defense force, identifying and eliminating threats with laser precision. But over time, after too many rounds of clonal expansion and exposure to inflammatory environments, they burn out. Except they don't leave. Instead, they linger like bitter ex-commandos, still armed but no longer receiving accurate orders. Some lose the ability to recognize pathogens correctly and start targeting the body's own tissues. Others just take up space and energy, clogging the lymphatic real estate that could be used for fresh, competent recruits. It's a mess. What's fascinating is that not all senescent immune cells are necessarily bad. Much like the fibroblast story, where some senescent fibroblasts actually help with wound healing while others seem to throw molecular Molotov cocktails, senescent T cells might also have subtype-specific effects. For example, in aging tissues, some senescent T cells appear to play a regulatory role, dialing down excessive immune responses to prevent collateral damage. That's not villainy, that's nuance. It suggests a gray zone in the good versus evil senescence debate. The real challenge is figuring out which senescent cells are benign retirees sipping tea and which are aggressive malcontents plotting autoimmune coups. This is where things get delightfully nerdy. Machine learning and single-cell RNA sequencing are swooping in like data-driven superheroes. These tools can now help us cluster and categorize senescent immune cells based on gene expression, surface markers, and cytokine output. What we're starting to see is not a single zombie army, but a chaotic ensemble cast of characters, some muttering nonsense, some stuck in endless loops of pro-inflammatory behavior, and some trying to help but clearly past their prime. If we can map out these subtypes, then targeted therapies could become feasible. Imagine drugs that selectively eliminate the bad senescent T cells, the ones implicated in diseases like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and multiple sclerosis, without touching the ones providing useful immune damping. That's precision immunosenolytic therapy, and it sounds almost too futuristic to be real. But preliminary studies using senolytics like dasatinib and quercetin have already shown some promise in selectively clearing senescent cells in animal models. The trick will be developing delivery systems that can identify and eliminate only the problematic subtypes. It's like customizing a Roomba to only suck up evil dust bunnies and leave the cute ones behind. Organ-specific targeting is another tantalizing avenue. Senescent T cells that misbehave in the gut may not be the same as those causing mayhem in the joints or the brain. If we can identify location-specific senescent profiles, we might one day deploy tissue-targeted therapies like a gut-specific senolytic probiotic or an intra-articular injection that calms the senescent storm in rheumatoid arthritis without systemic side effects. Add in nanotechnology or CRISPR-guided delivery, and suddenly you're no longer treating autoimmunity with a sledgehammer. You're using tweezers and lasers. Ironically, all this drama arises from the immune system doing its job too well, or at least for too long. Autoimmune disease and chronic inflammation are not about lazy immunity. They're often about overzealous immunity that can't seem to retire its dysfunctional veterans. If we can help the immune system clean house and move on, we might not just treat disease, we could actually rejuvenate immunity itself. That's not just healing. That's reversing the aging process in one of the most vital systems in the body. In the end, senescent immune cells might be more misunderstood than malevolent. They're stuck in a weird limbo, half functional, half retired, still trying to be useful but often causing more harm than good. The challenge and the opportunity lies in understanding them well enough to decide who deserves early retirement, who just needs a performance review, and who's ready for reassignment. With enough nuance, data, and a bit of biotech magic, we might just turn our immune zombies into unlikely allies, or at the very least, get them to finally leave the party.